In our fast-paced, media-saturated world, attaining inner peace and living a virtuous life can feel like an impossible challenge. Endless distractions, negativity and unhealthy habits constantly bombard us, making it difficult to stay grounded. However, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism provides a framework for eliminating disruptive influences and focusing only on what truly matters. Stoicism, founded in the 3rd century BC by Zeno of Citium, teaches us to differentiate between what we can control and what we cannot. By directing our energy only towards that which is within our power, we gain incredible freedom and agency over our lives. In this video, we'll explore 9 key things to quietly eliminate from your life based on Stoic principles. Cutting out these 9 toxic elements creates space for tranquility, personal growth, and purpose. Number 1. Negative self-talk. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects us all: negative self-talk. But don't worry, we'll explore how Stoicism can help us transform those critical inner voices into constructive dialogues. Negative self-talk with visuals of people looking frustrated or sad. Negative self-talk is that inner critic that tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. It can create a cycle of self-doubt and anxiety. But what if we could change that narrative? Stoicism, a philosophy founded in ancient Greece, teaches us that our thoughts shape our reality. It encourages us to focus on what we can control and to accept what we cannot. Here are 3 key Stoic principles to combat negative self-talk. Cognitive distancing. A person meditating or reflecting. Recognize that your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. Reframing. A person looking at a challenge with a positive mindset. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "This is a chance to learn and grow." Acceptance of control. A person letting go of a balloon, symbolizing acceptance. Focus on what you can control, your reactions and actions. Let go of the rest. Now, let's put these principles into practice with a few exercises. Daily reflection. Each evening, write down 3 negative thoughts you had during the day. Challenge each one. What evidence do you have to support or refute these thoughts? Gratitude. Journaling. Start your day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. This shifts your focus from negativity to positivity. Visualize your best self. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing your best self, who you are and what you can achieve. This can help reshape your self-image. Remember, overcoming negative self-talk is a journey. By applying these Stoic principles, you can begin to transform your inner dialogue into one that uplifts and empowers you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you combat negative self-talk? Number 2. Materialistic desires. In a world that constantly bombards us with the idea that happiness comes from what we own, how can we break free from that cycle? As always, we'll turn to Stoicism for timeless wisdom. Everywhere we look, on social media, advertisements, or even in our social circles, we see a strong push toward accumulating more. We're led to believe that the next gadget, car, or piece of clothing will finally make us happy. But has it worked so far? Stoicism teaches us that material wealth, while not inherently bad, is often a distraction from what really matters. It shifts our focus away from inner peace, making us reliant on external things for our happiness. According to the Stoics, true wealth isn't about what you own, but about who you are. As Seneca wisely put it, It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. The Stoics believed that inner virtue, qualities like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, are the true measures of wealth. These internal riches can't be taken away from you, unlike material possessions. One of the key ideas in Stoicism is detaching from externals, things outside of your control, like wealth, status, or possessions. Epictetus reminds us that these things are indifferent, meaning they neither add nor subtract from your worth as a person. When you detach from the need for material goods, you free yourself from the anxiety of loss and the endless pursuit of more. The real treasure is emotional freedom. Another powerful Stoic practice is voluntary simplicity. Seneca would practice living with less on purpose, eating simple meals, wearing basic clothes, just to remind himself that he didn't need luxury to be happy. By living simply, even for short periods of time, you can train your mind to focus on what really matters. You'll find that you can still live a fulfilled life without constantly chasing after materialistic desires. The Stoics believed that contentment comes from appreciating what you already have, not from desiring what you don't. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." When you shift your perspective to gratitude for what you already possess, both materially and internally, you become immune to the constant pull of consumerism. All right, so how can we apply these Stoic lessons to our own lives? Here are a few practical tips. Practice gratitude daily. Take a moment each day to appreciate the things you already have, especially non-material things like relationships and health. Set limits on purchases. Before buying something, ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I just trying to fill a void? Embrace simplicity. Try living with less for a week. It could be as simple as limiting your wardrobe or cooking basic meals. You'll be surprised by how little you actually need. Shift your focus to personal growth. Instead of focusing on material goals, set goals for self-improvement, whether it's learning a new skill, practicing mindfulness, or developing virtues like patience and resilience. Breaking free from materialism is no easy task, especially in a world designed to make us crave more. But remember, true happiness comes from within, and Stoicism provides us with the tools to find that inner peace. Let's focus on what really matters and live a life of purpose. Number 3. Fear of failure. We've all been there, haven't we? That gnawing feeling of, what if I mess up? Or what if I'm not good enough? But what if I told you that Stoicism, the ancient philosophy, offers powerful insights that can help you not only overcome this fear, but actually embrace failure as a path to growth? Let's break it down. Overcoming the fear of failure. Stoicism explained. So, what exactly is the fear of failure? It's that inner voice telling you that failure is the end, that if you don't succeed, you're somehow less valuable or capable. It's a feeling that can paralyze you from even trying. But according to the Stoics, fear isn't something to be avoided or feared. It's actually a signal that you're stepping into new territory, and that's where growth happens. Let's look at what Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, had to say. In his Meditations, he reminds us that it's not external events or outcomes that truly matter, but how we respond to them. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. According to Stoicism, failure is an external event. It's something outside of your control. What you can control is your reaction, how you learn from it, how you grow, and how you move forward. It's about seeing failure as an opportunity rather than a setback. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Here are 3 Stoic principles to help you reframe failure and turn fear into strength. A. Focus on what you can control. The outcome isn't always in your hands, but your effort, preparation, and mindset are. By detaching from the outcome, you can free yourself from fear. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. B. Failure is feedback, not final. The Stoics believed in using every experience, whether success or failure, as a lesson. Failure is simply information. It tells you what didn't work and gives you a roadmap for improvement. C. Practice detachment. The Stoics often spoke about indifference to external outcomes. This doesn't mean you don't care about success, but that your self-worth isn't tied to it. Detaching emotionally from outcomes allows you to take bolder risks without the crippling fear of failure. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great in theory, but how do I actually apply it? Well, Stoicism isn't just about philosophy, it's about practice. Here's how you can start today. First, try something you've been afraid of failing at, whether it's a new project, a conversation, or even a hobby. Approach it with the Stoic mindset that failure is just feedback. Remind yourself that the only thing within your control is your effort, not the result. Second, after each attempt, reflect on what you learned. Don't dwell on what went wrong, but instead focus on how you can improve next time. That's Stoicism in action. Remember, the Stoics saw failure not as something to fear, but as something to embrace. Every failure is a chance to become better, stronger, and wiser. So the next time you feel that fear creeping in, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are in control of your effort, not the outcome. Overcome fear. Embrace failure. Grow stronger. Number 4. Toxic relationships. Have you ever found yourself drained by certain relationships in your life? Feeling constantly manipulated, belittled, or unappreciated? In today's video, we're diving into Stoicism to explore how to navigate and overcome toxic relationships. Define a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships are those connections where emotional harm, manipulation, or negativity dominate. These relationships drain our energy and disrupt our peace. Stoicism teaches us the importance of inner tranquility, and toxic relationships are a direct threat to that peace. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, knowing what is within your control and what isn't. In a toxic relationship, we can't control the behavior of others. However, we can control our reactions, set boundaries, and decide when to step away. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca's wisdom reminds us that much of our suffering comes from our attachment to situations we can't change. If a relationship is toxic, it's essential to let go of what you cannot fix, starting with the other person's actions. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away, but about protecting your inner tranquility. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. A key part of that reaction is setting firm boundaries to avoid allowing toxic behavior into your life. Toxic relationships thrive on emotional manipulation, but Stoicism encourages us to detach from these emotional triggers. When you feel anger, frustration, or hurt, remind yourself that these emotions are temporary. Marcus Aurelius taught that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When emotions run high, take a moment to pause and breathe. Give yourself space to regain perspective. Sometimes the most stoic decision you can make is to walk away. Remaining in a toxic relationship for the sake of avoiding conflict or fear of change is not aligned with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous life. Acknowledge when a relationship no longer serves your growth or well-being. Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Toxic relationships often thrive when we rely on others for validation or self-worth. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate inner strength and self-reliance. Focus on building your character, your virtues, and your internal peace, things that no one can take away from you. He who is contented is rich. Lao Tzu. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that we are responsible for our own happiness and peace of mind. Toxic relationships are distractions from our path to personal growth and tranquility. By applying Stoic principles, we can protect our peace, set boundaries, and let go of what no longer serves us. Number 5. Excessive social media use. How can Stoicism, a philosophy over 2,000 years old, help us break free from the addictive nature of social media? Stick around to find out how applying Stoic principles can help you regain control of your time, focus, and mental peace. Let's start with the Stoic idea of control. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Social media is a prime example. You can't control the algorithms, the likes, or even the endless stream of information thrown at you, but you can control how you react to it. Ask yourself, do you really need to check your notifications for the 10th time today? The Stoics would urge you to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and choices. Use this principle to set boundaries on your social media usage. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, taught us that time is our most valuable asset. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Excessive social media use is the perfect example of this. Hours slip away, leaving us no better for it. Imagine what you could accomplish if you reclaimed that time. Ask yourself, is this worth my time? If not, shift your focus to something that enriches your life. Social media often leads us to compare ourselves to others. We see the highlights of everyone's lives and start to feel inferior. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stoicism encourages you to focus on your own journey, not others. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Focus on your own path, not others. Shift your attention inward. What can you improve in your own life today? Stoicism teaches us to live in the present moment, to be mindful of what is happening now. Excessive social media use pulls us away from the present, trapping us in an endless cycle of distractions. As Marcus Aurelius said, confine yourself to the present. When you put down your phone, you reclaim the now, your only true reality. Use social media intentionally, rather than letting it steal your attention away from the moment you are in. One of the cornerstones of Stoicism is self-discipline. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Excessive social media use is often a lack of self-control. By practicing restraint, you're not depriving yourself, you're freeing yourself. You're taking control of your life. Start small. Set specific times to check your social media and stick to them. Over time, you'll realize how much more liberated you feel. Social media is a tool, but like any tool, it can either serve us or enslave us. Through Stoic principles, control, the value of time, avoiding comparisons, living in the present and self-discipline, you can take back your life. The choice is yours. Number 6. Regret and resentment. Regret and resentment. Two emotions that can weigh us down like anchors, trapping us in the past. But what if I told you that these feelings are not only unnecessary, but also within our control? The Stoics believed that we could free ourselves from these burdens and live a more peaceful, fulfilled life. How? Let's dive in. First, let's talk about regret. Regret often comes from choices we made, things we wish we had done differently. But the Stoics remind us of an important truth. What's done is done. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Regret stems from wishing we could change the past, but can we? The past is beyond our control, and as Stoics, we learn to focus only on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our attitudes. The moment we accept that, we begin to free ourselves from regret. Instead of regret, the Stoic response is to learn from past mistakes, but not to dwell on them. Every setback, every wrong turn, is an opportunity for growth. Epictetus taught us, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Live your philosophy by using the past as a tool for self-improvement, not self-punishment. Now let's turn to resentment. While regret focuses on our own past actions, resentment is rooted in the actions of others, things they said or did that we hold on to with bitterness. But the Stoics teach us that we don't control others, only ourselves. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "How much better to heal than to seek revenge from injury?" Resentment poisons the soul. It chains us to the past, just like regret. But by focusing on what we control, our response, we break free from that poison. Think about it. If we let go of resentment, we allow ourselves to live in peace. It doesn't mean we approve of the wrong done to us. It means we choose not to let it control our lives. In this way, we become unshakable, practicing what the Stoics called apatheia, freedom from destructive emotions. So, what's the Stoic solution to regret and resentment? It's simple. Control your mind, not the past. Focus on what's in your power, your thoughts, your actions, your present moment. Use the past as a teacher, not a prison. Let go of resentment towards others, for it only harms you. Remember, we cannot change the past, but we can always change our perspective on it. Regret and resentment are choices, and as Stoics we choose peace, we choose growth, we choose to live in the present. Regret and resentment, let them go and live freely. Stoicism teaches us to find peace within. Number 7. Unhealthy habits. The first step in overcoming any unhealthy habit is awareness. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Before we can change, we must first admit that the habit exists. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control. Epictetus reminds us that some things are up to us, and some things are not. While you may not control your cravings, your past choices, or other people's opinions, you do control your actions in this moment. So, choose wisely. Unhealthy habits often come from seeking comfort, but comfort is fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, brings long-term satisfaction. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Break the cycle by choosing what is difficult, but right over what is easy but damaging. No one is perfect, and we will stumble. But the Stoics teach us that setbacks are not failures, they're opportunities for growth. When you slip into an unhealthy habit, don't waste time on regret. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? Stoicism places a strong emphasis on virtue. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Use the pursuit of wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control as your foundation to resist destructive habits. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is daily reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do well? Where did I give in to unhealthy habits? Journaling helps keep your progress in check and guides you toward improvement. The Stoics weren't about overnight transformations. They were about consistent, incremental growth. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on small victories and build on them. Over time, you'll notice that the unhealthy habits begin to lose their grip on you. Breaking unhealthy habits isn't easy, but through Stoicism, we can find the tools to reclaim control of our lives. Focus on what's in your control, embrace discipline, learn from setbacks, and most importantly, strive to live a life of virtue. As the Stoics believed, true freedom comes from mastering ourselves. Number 8. Procrastination. Time. It's the one thing we all have in common, yet how often do we find ourselves putting off tasks, waiting for the right moment? Procrastination is a silent thief. It steals our progress, delays our success, and leaves us with a pile of regret. But what if I told you that ancient Stoic philosophy offers timeless advice to help us break free from procrastination? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow." Stoicism teaches us that the only time we truly have is the present moment, and it's our duty to act now, not later. Procrastination often stems from feeling overwhelmed by tasks. We delay because we worry about outcomes we can't control. The Stoics remind us to focus solely on what is within our control. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Start by breaking down large tasks into small, manageable steps. By focusing on the process rather than the outcome, you reduce anxiety and take action. Ask yourself, what can I do right now, in this very moment? Once you answer that, do it immediately. Remember, the future is uncertain. The present is where you can make a difference. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is memento mori, which translates to remember you will die. This may sound morbid, but it's actually a call to live fully and purposefully. Procrastination loses its grip when we realize that our time is limited. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much of your life are you willing to waste by delaying your goals? Use the awareness of mortality to motivate you. Every moment you postpone your tasks is a moment lost forever. Begin now, because there may never be a perfect time. Procrastination often arises when we avoid uncomfortable tasks. We prefer ease and comfort, but the Stoics understood that growth only comes through challenge. Marcus Aurelius urged, "Do not be ashamed of help. It is your task to fulfill your duties like a soldier at war." The Stoics believed in voluntary discomfort to build resilience. Whether it's waking up early, exercising, or tackling a difficult task, remind yourself that discomfort is temporary. The satisfaction of progress, however, lasts. Fear of failure or making mistakes often leads to procrastination. But as the Stoics remind us, action is the antidote to fear. Inaction only magnifies our worries. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Similarly, the greatest remedy for fear is to act. Don't wait for the fear to disappear. Take small steps forward. The more you act, the more confident you become, and the more you break the cycle of procrastination. Finally, Stoicism is about living a life of purpose and virtue. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? Procrastination keeps us from living in alignment with our values. Set clear intentions for each day, and remind yourself that your actions, or lack of them, define who you are. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The time to act is now." Procrastination doesn't have to rule your life. With the wisdom of the Stoics, you can reclaim your time, embrace action, and live a life of purpose and progress. Remember, the power to act is within you. Seize the moment. Number 9. Worrying about the future. Whether it's concerns about your career, relationships, or the unknown, the future can often feel overwhelming. But what if I told you that the Stoics had a completely different way of looking at it? In this video, we'll explore Stoic principles that will help you stop worrying about the future and start living with peace of mind. Let's get into it. Whether it's the fear of the unknown, anxiety about what could go wrong, or stress over things we can't control, it's something we all face. But what if I told you that Stoic philosophy offers us powerful tools to deal with this worry? In today's video, we'll look at how Stoicism can help us break free from this anxiety and focus on what truly matters. First, let's address the root of this worry: control. When we worry about the future, what we're really doing is trying to control something that is outside of our hands. The Stoics believed in the dichotomy of control, which teaches us to recognize what we can control and what we can't. Think about it. Can you control the future? You can influence it, but you can't guarantee any specific outcome. Trying to control what you can't only leads to unnecessary stress and frustration. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The next Stoic principle that helps with future worry is staying anchored in the present. The future is just an abstraction, something that hasn't even happened yet. The only thing that truly exists is the present moment. Instead of worrying about what might happen tomorrow, ask yourself, what can I do today? How can I use this moment right now to move toward my goals? The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." When you're focused on the now, the future becomes less overwhelming because you're taking action, not just worrying. Another major reason we worry about the future is uncertainty. The fear of the unknown can be paralyzing. But here's the Stoic truth. Life is uncertain, and that's okay. The Stoics teach us to embrace this uncertainty instead of fighting it. Epictetus reminded us that it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. When we label the future as something to fear, we create unnecessary stress. Instead, we should recognize that uncertainty is just part of life. Focus on how you respond to challenges rather than fearing them. And now, the Stoic concept of memento mori, remembering that you will die. It might sound grim, but it's actually liberating. By reminding ourselves that life is finite, we stop wasting time worrying about a future that may never come. When you understand that your time here is limited, it becomes easier to focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Why spend your limited time worrying about things that haven't even happened? Finally, Stoicism teaches us acceptance. Some things in life are simply out of our control. Trying to resist or change them only leads to suffering. Once we learn to accept what we cannot change, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing reality for what it is and responding appropriately. By doing this, we channel our energy into productive actions instead of wasting it on endless worry. So the next time you catch yourself worrying about the future, take a step back and remember the Stoic principles. Focus on what you can control. Stay anchored in the present. Embrace uncertainty. Remember that life is finite and accept what you cannot change. Worry doesn't solve problems. Action does. And when we act with the wisdom of the Stoics, we free ourselves from the mental prison of fear and anxiety. If you found value in today's video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let me know in the comments how you deal with future worries. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay mindful and stay stoic.